Started on the sidewalk, notebook dreams, pen in the pocket, chasing moonbeam schemes. Then the world spun, AI in my lane. Typed a prompt, watched the magic rain. Claude in my corner, chat GP2. But after a while, they just missed the view. Needed more, needed drive, needed my say. Plot drive loaded up, baby, clear the way. We're moving past the bots in a copy paste haze.
Hello, everybody.
Writing real stories in our own damn ways.
You know who these two people are, but I'm going to introduce us anyway. My name's Ekel O'Hara. I am a published author, really, because of this lady right over here. Her name is Elizabeth Ann West, and we are with the future. Oh, you just decided to stop it?
Well, I went to go slow it down, but then I couldn't hear you, so sorry.
I was riding right over to the top of it too.
My name's important.
Anyway, her name's Elizabeth Ann West. I'm Ekel O'Hara. She is the thought leader over at the Future Fiction Academy. We are a collective of authors who are AI positive, and we work literally every day to advance this thing that we call creativity and artificial intelligence, and how those two things can work together. So, Elizabeth, do we have any, I don't know, news, anything like that?
Oh gosh, there's so much.
Okay. All right, good. But before we get started with that, let's do the shouty shouts. Hey, how you doing, Alyssa? Nice to see you. And who's the future? Is that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Danny, nice to see you. We had a wonderful conversation last night, and I'm hoping that there's a lot of people that just got here from Lynn's community class, because I'm pretty sure she rolls that sucker right before we go live.
Oh, we got Nicholas in the house.
Who?
Susan. Hey, Susan. I'm catch up. Let's go. Say hi to everyone.
Oh, there it is. Macy.
We got a lot to do tonight.
Oh, wow. Look, now everybody's just dropping in. Now look at this. Hey, look at how y'all doing.
36.
Jeez Louise. Hey,
like
everybody.
Do all those things because I got to teach you fine tunes.
Oh, my. Okay, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, Nicholas. Hi. Yes. Hi, Lucas.
Yeah.
I got everybody. Hi. Hello. Hey. All right. Go ahead. Catch us up.
Okay. So we have your notes down in the description, so you can get them at the very top. We have 2 new standalone classes that just came out: editing with AI, and also mastering the 5-act structure with AI with your very own Rachel Heller, who's in the house saying aloha.
Hello, Rachel.
That Master the 5-Act Structure with AI class is hot off the presses. Like, the mastermind just finished that series with Rachel, I believe, last month. So making it available to everybody else was very kind on her part. It was a fantastic class.
It was. Actually, I definitely caught at least one of the live sessions. And she's a very good, for lack of a better word, very good lecturer. She explains things in a way that and the kindness in her presentation shows through. It makes you want to lean in. It's nice.
Now, we are celebrating our anniversary all month long. It is our 2-year anniversary of the Future Fiction Academy in May. So we've been at this for 2 years now. 2. Here's many more. Oh, Liz says it was an awesome class, Rachel. Awesome sauce. So please go ahead and use code anniversary. Hopefully I spelled that right. For 50% off editing with AI. Now, the editing with AI class has a class in there from me, Steph, and Stacy. Mine is all about the AI writing that, like the writing that AI just can't do. So it's like that deep dive on how to address the AI-isms that are deeper than just M dashes and specific words. So we talk about how to make your openings better and things like that. Nice. And then there's a class from Steph on rephrasing with AI. So that's a deep dive on how to use AI to just like really nitty gritty make changes. And then finally, you get the class from Stacy, which is editing loops. how to do those sequences so you get the automatic. So it's really a class. It's 3 classes for the price of 1, and you're really getting that, easy. I can't believe I taught the easy class, but I did for that one. It was like a 100 level class. Easy class, intermediate class, and then you get that advanced looping class.
That's actually really wow. 3 of them?
3 of them, and it's $199, but you can get it for 50% off. So you can get it for $99 for 3 classes on how to edit with AI.
Well, do me a favor, everybody. Go ahead on down to the links in the description below. And actually, if you wanted to click on all the way through to our show notes, it'll give you a nice breakdown of everything that we're going to be talking about today and how we're doing everything today. Okay. So go ahead on in the links below and click on through, and you can get the show notes, and you can take those show notes and do whatever you want with them.
There's also, if you do not want to buy these classes individually, you can join the accelerator and you'll get these classes and hundreds more like them open to you when Mastermind unlocks in your middle of your 3rd month. So
yeah, you didn't hear wrong. She said hundreds of classes. Yeah, so we have all of the classes that are actually inside of the Mastermind, but then we have a bunch of archived classes from the past 2 years from us. What you would actually be able to physically watch the evolution of what large language models could do from May of 2 years ago all the way to right now, and see how we've tackled the different problems if you want to. But we've got a really nice core. And then if you really want to focus down, we've got the accelerator where you have a 90-day period for which you will absolutely have yourself a novel at the end, assisted by AI all the way through to the end, and you really learn all of the basics and all of the ways that you could go forth with AI. So it's super exciting.
Macy's got a question. I'm new here. What is Dino Trainer?
All right. So are we good with the news?
Yeah, I mean, there's other news too in AI, like Codex dropped from OpenAI, which is basically a model trained to be a software engineer that is built into their Windsurfer, which they bought, which is a competition for Cursor. If none of those words made any sense to you, don't worry.
Because they probably don't mean any sense. They don't need to mean any sense to you. AI language models that write code don't really, they have nothing to do with us. I mean, they will have something to do with us because we're going to be using them to build some really interesting things in the future, us specifically at the Future Fiction Academy. But I'm watching developers, like true developers, run into the same problems that we run into as story writers. And that is how AI can write you some chapters, and sometimes it can remember what was in chapter 1, but sometimes it can't. And it's kind of like each individual chapter is like a silo. It's just like individual documents. They're running into that with coding apps too, where it can't always make the code talk to other parts of the code. It's getting better. It's getting better month by month, just like we're having better chances at it too. But sometimes the logic eludes it, and it'll do very stupid things, like not functions that people who code would put into. So it puts like stupid bugs and mistakes into the code. Yep. Okay. So back to Macy. Macy Day, I am so sorry, hon, but Dino Trainer is not where you should start. We're going to start off this lesson about fine-tuning. Ikello, can you jump to fine-tuning if you don't know how to prompt? No. Actually, it would be extreme. All right, I'm going to give you a physics analogy. How they'll do analogies in order for you to understand some physics idea. I'm going to give you an analogy. Imagine, okay, this is the first time that you've tried to parasail, okay? And parasail, where you're using a actual sail on a board, and you've never ever been on a board before. You just learned to swim yesterday. Literally just learned to swim yesterday, and you're supposed to get on a board and use a sail and navigate with the wind all at the same time the day after. That's the same exact feel. Okay, that's exactly what happens when you're trying to learn about fine tuning and you don't have.
that example, you don't even know how to swim. You basically bought a parasail, and now your parasail's in the water, and you can't even get to it because you don't know how to swim.
My problem is the reason I did the analogy that way was because we have things like YouTube. You have a lot of kind of ancillary ways to kind of get your footing and learn how to swim ahead of time, and then it's still not enough information usually to get you over the hump. So that's what I mean. I mean, that's really the problem.
Driving an F1 car with a learner's permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, June. Thanks, June, for saving us from the parasailing.
It was a good analogy.
Honestly, when you said parasail, I was like, is that the thing on the surfboard in the water? Is that the idiots who jump off the cliff with the... That's hang gliding. My brain was confusing hang gliding and parasailing. Neither of them I'm doing. But it's just like, what skills do you need for parasail? Like for hang gliding?
You did literally go, huh? And that was the reason was because of the water thing, I just it worked.
So Dino Trainer was created a couple of months ago. It is a completely free tool to use. You just have to be a member of the FFA of some class of ours, including the free class. And so I'm going to show you Dino Trainer in a little bit. All the links are in there. You also are given a data set, but we're going to talk about fine tunes tonight. There is a really great playlist. You made it a playlist, right, Ikelo?
Believe I did.
We should add that link to the notes. And there's a really great playlist about fine tunes on this channel that really teaches you the introduction to fine tunes. And fine tunes are... The hard part about fine tunes is that it's a couple of hours of investment of time, and the payoff is something only if it's prompting you're going to do all the time. So we don't really fine tune if you can get what you want out of the AI. Now, how many of you ever have a problem getting what you want out of the AI? I'll wait. For example, maybe you ask for an outline and it has a tendency to give you a really not great outline. Or you ask for a story world and it gives you not a great story world. Oh, Danny's saying me. Okay. So tonight I'm going to show you how to fine tune using story world, like how to make a stronger story world. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Yep, maintaining voice. So maintaining voice and learning how to make a fine tune that writes like you is an advanced fine tune. I literally just finished one of the work sessions for it today with the mastermind. We did one in 2 hours. So again, if you are interested in doing more advanced fine tunes, it's just not something that can easily be taught in a single YouTube or something like that. It's something that you're going to need to be in classes, watching classes, coming to lives, or talking on Discord, being a member of the mastermind. And again, the mastermind is closed unless you do the 90-day accelerator program. Then you can unlock all of that. Okay. Claude and chat were loving me until today. I'm so sorry, April. Now, we cannot fine-tune Claude yet. You can if you have an enterprise. You can through AWS, but you can only fine-tune Haiku. It's really not worth it right now.
Mistral.
You can fine-tune Mistral. You can fine-tune Google. You can fine-tune OpenAI. You can fine-tune open source models as well. So, there's lots of applications for this if you learn how to fine-tune. And this is a skill. This is one of those skills that is going to stay with AI because fine-tuning AI is something that we need humans to be able to do. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you what I created. So I'm going to come over to my playground really fast. You can ignore this for right now. I know. It's like, wait a minute,
so
Alyssa. I see.
So
it is really good. So we're going to clear that out. Now, I'm just going to ask for a story world. I'm going to give it a system prompt, and you have all of this information in your notes, so please don't ask me to make a thing because you have it. So I created this with O3. This is a very detailed setting dossier, mystery dossier template for every book in the series. I used it with O3, and then I went through it and made some edits to it. So that's the backbone. And now I'm going to use... How do I make this smaller? Okay, I'm going to use GPT 4.1 mini. Okay, 4.1 mini. And I'm going to give it a prompt that is, give me a detailed story world for a cozy mystery series, small town, and I want you to imagine 3 books have already been written in this series. Make sure you include all details and oh, I have a mistake. An AI would need to be able to plan a future book in this series that are standalones, but the town and characters are consistent. Be inspired by a 1920s themed town where jazz and justice intertwine. Okay.
Jazz and justice.
Jazz and justice. Now we'll make sure that it's got enough tokens to like really kind of flesh this out. So we'll give it 15,000, and we'll bump the temperature down just a little bit so it'll listen to me. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go ahead and click go. And it's like, certainly, here is a detailed story world. So it's just going to write it. This is with 4.1 mini out of the gate. Now, this is how most people know how to prompt. They know how to prompt by giving something in the system prompt, so like a template, and then you're giving a prompt here that it's going to fill in the template.
Tell them what you did.
Huh?
Show them what you did.
I'm showing them the base one first, so I have to show them the differences.
All right.
I know. Okay, so it did that, and I'm going to give you guys this as an example. So here we go. So we're going to grab that. I'm going to come over to your notes. Fine-tune playlist. Yep. All right, so this is 4.1 mini by itself. And I actually need... We'll go with 3 columns. We're going to go with 3 columns. And all right, and I'm going to paste that in so you guys can see it. So we can see how much information it did. It's not terrible. It's not fantastic, but it's not terrible. And we have all of this information. Okay, so not bad. It followed the template. Mm-hmm. And most people like this. Now, let me show you what happens when I gave it a fine tune of really in-depth dossiers. And let's see what happens with the fine tune. So again, I'm going to come over to my playground.
Have you explained the specificity of the fine tune yet?
Not yet. I'm just showing them what it does so that then we talk about it. So they go, oh, I want one of those. So we're going to keep the system prompt the same. We're going to keep the user prompt the same. We're going to keep all the settings the same, except now I'm going to choose my fine tune of 4.1 mini. So down here, I have a fine tune of Cozy Mystery Story Worlds. I'm going to go ahead and choose step 90. And so now it has all of that information. I am going to bump the temperature down just a little bit because with a fine tune, you usually do need to bump it down just a little bit more.
It has something to do with sample size, everyone.
Yeah. So here we go. It's the exact same prompt. Let's see what we get. Oh, thank you. They need to not see us.
Oh, thank you.
No worries.
Oh, while this is spinning up, everyone, do me a favor. I've got 56 people here hanging out with us on a Friday. If you all hit the like button right now, then you won't have to do it later. 1. And 2, it will get this out to so many other people so that other people can watch this too. This is a big deal. It's kind of a culmination of a bunch of stuff that we've been working on for years. And to be able to use fine tunes when you are doing some types of sequencing and stuff like that, being able to use fine tunes in that sort of way is going to be incredibly powerful. I'm serious. Really, really powerful. All right. You're spun up. And what do we have, Elizabeth?
It's filling it out.
Is it still?
Yep. Now there's some things here that I don't love. Like it does this weird like research and fact check, obviously, that you would want to, like it's hallucinating that, but it at least puts a spot there for you to fill it in. So when I grab this one though, and I bring it over to here, this is 4.1 mini fine tune.
Your notion.
I'm just gonna paste it in.
Your notion foo is pretty cool.
And then we'll first see which one's longer. That's usually a good indication there. But we got to make the because I put it in the wrong one. Okay, hold on here.
Oh, you have to put it into the middle one, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh.
It's okay. You can laugh at me.
It's just like, it is annoying. There we go. I was going to say.
So about the same length here. So we have the fine tune. So now if I go down, you can see that this one on the right, way more information.
Wow. Look how much longer that is.
Yeah. And it's giving a lot more. So let's look at the quality. Sample size. Yeah, not nipple size. Okay. So let's look at the continuity here. Front page snapshot, front placeholder for future books. So it understood that we're not even doing that. So it's deciding what came before, and then it gets to the town. It doesn't get to the town overview until much later. So what I love about this is that it was following the instructions of inventing because my prompt says, because this is the prompt in the user, I want you to imagine 3 books have already been written in this series. Now, why did I train it to do that? So you could give it the summary of 3 books, and it's used to taking information from previous books in the series and continuing the series. That's what this fine tune is designed to do. You'll notice out of the box, this one on the left could not even imagine 3 books. In fact, it decided to tell me book 1, book 2, book 3. And then it kind of has a suggestion for future books a little bit. So we have a little bit here. This is just out of the box. Let's see what happens on this right side. Now, this is 4.1 mini, I want to remind you. So this thing decided tier 1 absolutely required references. Clara Bellamy, former jazz singer turned amateur sleuth, runs the Velvet Note, a speakeasy turned jazz club. Introduced book 1. Detective Sam Holloway, local detective, skeptical of Clara, but often ends up collaborating. Jubilee Bay, coastal town that recreated itself as a 1920s jazz hotspot, population 4,000, has a boardwalk, a small harbor, and a historic district. So we have these major arcs. We have the nods, including book 2. It has recurring characters. It has what the past cases were. So murder at the boardwalk bash, homicide hits high C. Sorry. Death by dance hall dilemma.
Did that hit you, didn't it?
Yeah. Tier 3, 2 not references. Clara's former life details beyond singing. Deep dive into organized crime theories. Sam's past family drama still unfolding. So it's even giving the boundaries. Let's see if this one on this side gives us any boundaries.
On the left side?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any boundaries. I see 0 boundaries. Nope, no boundaries. Okay. So this one, and again, you're basically being able to give the power of 03 to 4.1 when you're feeding it 03 examples, and it's starting to prompt like 03 out of the gate. So promises of the genre list, it has all this information. It has information about what would be in previous books. Now, this is all made up, but you would be able to provide it with this information, and it would be able to fill that out because it's expecting it. That's the big thing about a fine tune like this. If you were to give it the story dossiers of 3 stories, it would be able to fill that in. Character files. So we have all the information about the characters. Down here, we have motivation. Let's see. Tommy the Trumpet Malone. So the mystery engine varies per book, sample from book 3. So the dance instructor, it has the timeline of the crime. It has a clue grid. It has the red herrings. It has the suspect table. Where's my cozy mystery writers at? Is this something that AI usually does for you very easily with a one-shot prompt? I'll wait. Have you seen that before, Ikello? With 4.1?
This is mini. This isn't even 4.1. This is what I'm all right. What I want to do is, can you run this directly against 4.1?
I can. Who wants to see it against 4.1?
I think that it would be a really good comparison of the two.
So for that, we're going to be in Playground, and we're going to be in the compare section. And the way you get here is if you are in your main area, you just click compare up here at the top. So the left side is going to be 4.1, and on this side, I'm going to undo sync. And we need to put the same system message in. So the system message is the template. I'm prompting it exactly the way that I fine-tuned it. Okay, and now I have to add, I need to change the model. So this side is going to be Cozy Mystery. We'll do step 90. We'll increase the max tokens. We'll give them each 13,000. We'll bring down the temperature a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And on this side, we'll do the same thing. So it gets like 13,000 tokens. Sure. Mini can actually write more than 4.1 if you haven't picked up on that yet. We'll bring the temperature down just a little bit. It doesn't really need to come down that much. All right. So this is the fine tune versus 4.1.
Dum 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 dum.
And I'm going to put the prompt in. Do we want to do something different than the jazz world, or we want to stick with the jazz world?
I don't know. How about something genre-y?
Okay, let's go over here. We could do vintage disco. Yes, the 3 books were made up by the fine tune on the spot, so you could use those to expand. Let's do a New England town famous for its syrup festival and nosy neighbors.
Yeah, that's it.
A New England town famous. So now we're going to click go.
Man.
.1 is doing okay. I likes it. So it's imagining 3, death by double stack, sugar maple secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Gossip and history, everyone knows everyone, rumors precede evidence. Okay, so they finished at about the same time. This one did not write as many tokens, 1,594 versus 2,000. Let's see. So this one has ready for future mysteries.
What's that greenest sugar maple ridge aesthetic thing?
A Pinterest mood board.
No.
Yeah, 4.1 can access the internet. 4.1, the base one, can access the thing.
Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah.
That was slick.
But that's 4.1. Now, actually, I just lost
I just think it's really cool that I wasn't expecting there to be a link, actually. A Pinterest link. Holy crap.
Now, if we were to put links, we could, but it would just it would probably like hallucinate them, because I don't think 4.1 can access the internet. But 4.1, did I not change it? Did they both run?
What?
Okay, it's confused and I lost it. I'm sorry. Let me try history. I lost it.
What do you mean? The thing that you just
link to the Pinterest.
Oh.
Okay. So yes, the 4.1 apparently could put in a link. Now let's talk about the cost, though, because that's the important thing here.
Yes, that was exactly where I was going with it.
So if I go to my dashboard, I have to go to my profile for this one. My profile, give everyone my old phone number, usage. Now, I've worked a lot today, but one of the things that I can compare, because I've done I've done a couple of fine tunes. If I go by spend categories, these are the individual models. So we've done 4.1 mini input. So this is actually like messages into it. I've spent 2 cents total, but I was doing work in a class. You can see my work in the class. This is the work that I did today, which is less than a penny. I know it says May 17th, but that's because it's UTC. So it's after the fact. But I want to be clear. My fine tune did not pull up a mood board. That was 4.1 that did that. So not 4.1 mini fine tune did not pull up the mood board. That's because 4.1 has access to the internet. Over here, we have spent 2 cents grand total on everything we've done with the fine tune today. Now, if I come down to 4.1, let's see, where is 4.1? I know I spent today on 4.1.
Yeah, we just did it.
We just did it.
Literally just did it because we
Did
got
it
a
not
link.
register because I did not
Refresh. Feels like it was already done by then, though. 4.1, 4.1.
Oh, I know why, because I have free tokens. But most people don't have free tokens. So
Wait a minute, you have free tokens on 4.1 too?
Yes. So if I go to my data controls, sharing. Oh, I just allowed this and I got complimentary weekly evals. Nice. Yeah, 4.1, 10 million of 4.1 mini GPT 4.1, 1 million tokens per day. So that's okay. We can still calculate this and I'll show you how. If I go back to my dashboard, back to the playground, it's a little bit complicated, but we can still do it. I'm going to go to history and I'm going to go pull up that current, not the current editor. Okay, so here's the syrup. And here, okay, I got it back. So this is GPT 4.1 and this is 4.1 mini. And it should tell me how many it is, but it's not. So we'll just use the tokenizer. Sorry, guys, I wasn't quite planning this part. So we want the tokenizer for 4.0 mini. So I'm going to put what it wrote. Okay, so that was 1892 tokens, 1,000. Okay, so that's output tokens. So that's 1892 output. And then the input, I'll delete all that. The input is going to be this thing and then also the prompt, which is that one. And then not that part. It was be inspired by a New England town, famous. So that's 1757 of input. Okay, and the way to calculate this is with pricing. Now, I did use regular 4.1. So my phone is over there, so I'll use this calculator. But let me show you just the difference in pricing. Okay, yes, do not train 4.1. Only train 4.1 mini, because when you fine tune our models over here, you're going to pay $25 per million tokens over here, and you're going to pay for 4.1 mini $5. So when it trains 3 million tokens, that cost me $15. If it trains 3 million tokens over here, that's going to cost you $75. But I want to point out the difference in the pricing, okay? Because you can wrap your brain around this. 4.1 mini when fine-tuned is $3.20 per million output tokens. 4.1 is $8 per 1 million tokens of output. So no matter what you're doing, your 4.1 mini fine-tune is more than half the price of 4.1 output. Does that make sense, Ikello? Yes,
it does.
Yeah, and it's twice the price of this one, but it's still pennies on the dollar, like 2 cents.
Yeah.
So this $8 right here, if I was to take my calculator, and I know you can't see it, because I know it's $8 divided by 1 million, because that's the per token cost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. I get a price per token, multiply that times 1892. that was 1.5 cents for just that one output with 4.1. And with our fine tune, it was less than a penny, I think, right?
Well, less than a penny.
Yeah.
It's remember, it's I think it's a multiple because it was because there was an extra zero.
Yeah.
So it's like a multiple, so of like 100 or something.
So let me show you guys how to do this, but I'll wait till your questions. Go ahead.
Here's the one question for you. I was just trying to look up my own status for the free thing, and I could not. I cannot figure out where I should go. Is it under API reference?
Nope, it's under sharing. Click your face on the top right, go to profile, and then on the left side, go to sharing.
My face, your profile, sharing. On the left side?
Your profile, and on the left side, it should be, data controls, and then sharing.
Oh, girl.
I'm sorry.
No. I just thought you're eligible for up to 7 free weekly evals. Okay.
That's a new thing I still have to figure out this weekend.
Yeah, I need to look at this. Okay, now that I
have
it here.
Add to the notes.
You want me to do what on the notes?
No, you don't have to do anything on the notes. I'm going to add to the notes up at the top here. Do not fine tune 4.1. It's very expensive. Fine tune 4.1 mini or nano.
Hey, okay, I need to get off of the air for a split second. I'll be right back.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and jump and start showing people how to do this.
Okay, do it.
All right. You're going to have me in the bottom just for a minute here so that we can talk about this. So when you click on Dino Trainer, you're going to need to log in. So you'll see this application portal. It'll take you to Raptor or Raptor Baby, or you can go to Dino Trainer. To access this, you have to be logged into Teachable, just like everything else. And then why do we not have documentation on this? I thought we added the documentation. I know we have documentation on this. Okay, hold tight. We'll get documentation added to this because there's supposed to be a documentation here. And there's not. So sit tight on that one. I will get you documentation. You do have a dark mode. I'm going to work with light mode. For your first fine-tuned, you always want to work with supervised. Direct is a very advanced one, and now there's even another option. So we're just going to work with supervised. Supervised fine-tuning means that you are giving the AI an example of the system prompt, the user prompt, and then the response that you want it to get. Now, when you are in Dino Trainer, and the way you go to Dino Trainer is you just click Next, you're going to have a system prompt, a user prompt, and an assistant prompt. So system prompt is where you use templates or information it needs to know. The user prompt is where you make your prompt. And then the assistant part is the example you wish the AI would write. Okay, those are the 3 components to making any fine tune. Now, once you understand that, your brain is probably starting to go, Elizabeth, can I use a fine tune to blank? And the answer is probably yes. If you have, for example, let's say you consistently write 3,000 word chapters, right? You like 3,000 word chapters, but every time you prompt, you get 1,500 and you always have to flesh it out. Well, you can take those 3,000 word chapters paired with a chapter plan or however you're prompting for this, give it 10 examples of that, and then that fine tune, when you prompt it in the future in a similar way, it will give you 3,000 word chapters.
One of my favorites is getting rid of the sun.
Yes.
Anybody who is written with AI understands what is it the kids say nowadays? If you know, you know.
You know.
It's the truth, though. It'll get rid of the sun. It'll stop using those crutches and stuff like that. You can train that sort of thing out of your model in order to write better and cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And cheaper.
And cheaper.
Let's not forget the cheaper part.
If you take a book that you've written in Claude, you can bring it over to 4.1 Mini and teach 4.1 Mini to write like Claude. As long as you have prompting that you're using consistently, types of prompting. Okay, so let's go take a look at an example of how I did this. So back to this. We're going to come back to Dino Trainer, don't worry. And in your notes, you do have an entire data set right here that's a JSON file. You cannot take this file straight to OpenAI. You can, however, duplicate up here in the top of your notes. It'll be duplicate to your Notion. And you can, then once you duplicate it, you'll have access to that file. You can download it as it is, and you can upload it into Dino Trainer. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to click on my gear. I'm going to reset Dino Trainer. Yes. Reset it. And I'm going to click Dino Trainer load file because I have a file. And I'm going to upload that JSON file. And it says, okay. And then I go next. And here you go. I am giving you the data set for these better story worlds. You have the whole thing. And if you go to the binoculars, you can see the actual JSON. This is why we don't do it this way, because I would not be able to read this or evaluate it. Like, I would have no idea. So, but that's what you have. And then once you want to take that and use it in OpenAI, you click export the supervised JSON L. You have to use a JSON L file in order to fine tune with OpenAI. So
with Mistral also too.
Yes, Mistral as well. Mistral, it's the same for Mistral. You need a CSV if you want to fine tune Gemini. And we are slowly going through all of this in the mastermind. So if you join Accelerator, you'll be in mastermind in 45 days. You can catch right up to us. We're going to be working on fine tunes pretty much every single month for the next 6 months, I think, because there's just a lot of things to do.
Remember Greg Brockman, or actually the lead product guy, just being baffled on why people aren't using how much more efficiency they can get out of a fine-tuned model than the regular models that everybody uses and every day. I mean, it's really a lot better.
So I'm going to hop over to Plot Drive and show you how I did this. Okay. So what I did is I have 10 story worlds here. So here's story world number 1. And it's got New England River Town. This was just a generic one. Story World 2, I asked it to be inspired by a retirement of artists. So it did all of that. Story World 3, this one is Elderberry Springs. This is a spa town with paranormal activity. So it's got paranormal. Story World 4 is a big city, small town enclave. So this one I said I wanted a network of museums. And so like that's my small town setting, is like the world of the museums, kind of like the Smithsonian, but it needs to be made up. And so it did all of that, and it has ideas for each one of these, has the information for books 1, 2, and 3 already built in. And then it all gives open pitches for books 4 through 6. So each one of these has the exact same kind of like layout. Here's one for the Marigold Creek Mysteries. This one was, this one I wanted a male savant, kind of, but he helps the police, and I don't remember what else I said, but something along those lines. So here that we have the Savant Cozy Mystery, and it's doing the Blue Hills leaf peeping tourism. You can see I'm giving it a lot of different examples, and it's getting, kind of like annual tentpole events, so different things can happen. It has What Came Before. It has Running Gags, a stray marmalade cat cartouche, crashes scenes and steals small evidence items. So it can make sure that happens in every book. Go ahead.
I said nice, and then I saw
Yeah.
something about some corn hush puppies. Anything with some corn hush puppies up in it is good.
Yep, there's lots of things here. Story World 6, I asked for inspired by a travel agency. Here's an example. So like here's one, a paranormal community. This one was the Smithsonian's one, so you can see how I changed them. Story World 7 is a lighthouse. It was supposed to be a paranormal one where a ghost helps a paranormal sleuth. So they put it in, it had to have a ghost. And so it's got a lighthouse ghost to solve present day murders. Then we have, this one was imagine like Colonial Williamsburg. So it's come up with some really cool things here. Number 9 is, this one was to take place in a strip mall. And then Story World number 10 was an auction house. So, so the way that you do this is you come over to Dino Trainer. I'm going to reset Dino Trainer completely. And we're going to make sure we're unsupervised. And I'm going to go next. Okay. I'm going to copy and paste in that template. So in Plot Drive, I have that template right here, which is the Story Dossier Cozy Mystery Series template. I just asked it to make me one very detailed, and then I got it. The prompt I used for that was this one. I'll put it in your notes. All right, so here it is. We are making story dossiers for small, cozy. Oh, I messed that up. It should have been small town cozy mystery books. Oops. It's important in these books that it works for a series, but each book is a standalone. However, each book should have a section in the story dossier about the parts from previous books that it needs to know. Can you please design a very detailed template and instructions for each section of the story dossier? So that's how I got that. So we'll change
Gracie.
Okay. So once I use that, and literally to make these things, I'm going to show you how I do it. I literally do a new document, and I'm going to call this Story World number 11. All right.
I want hush puppies too.
Okay. We'll do something that's nautical now. So I'm going to turn on the template. I'm going to go get that prompt for my story worlds. I'm going to put it in here. For a cozy mystery series, small town, and I want you our standalones. Okay. Be inspired by a nautical community on a small island that needs a ferry to go back and forth.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
And you're using O3.
I'm using O3 as my synthetic data. So I'm going to click go. So it's got the template toggled on. It's got this prompt, and now it's going to make me story world number 11.
And you're going to use each one of these examples in your data set.
Yep, the data set has to have at least 10. One moment. O3 takes it a while.
Town.
So we'll while that's running, I'll come back to it. In the meantime, we can chat a little bit.
Okay.
So let's talk about some pitfalls of this. Ikello, did you notice that my story worlds were all very different?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What do you think would happen if I used every single one of them was an English village?
Oh. Okay, so thank you. That's a nice lob up. All right, everyone. Remember what I said earlier. Sample size. So what happens if you as a person decide, oh well, that's probably a bad example. How about we
just tell them what'll happen. Like
okay, so the same if you have too many samples of the same thing over and over and over again, guess what a large language model is going to do? It's going to refer to the most common data set inside of all of that data. And if it keeps coming up on cozy mystery with a cat as a familiar, vote cozy mystery with the cat as familiar, then almost every single time that you decide you want to run anything with that fine tune, you're going to get a cat as a familiar in a military sci-fi.
Now, if you are a cozy mystery writer who has multiple series and there's always a cat familiar, then you would want your data to always have a cat familiar as an example. So it always includes a cat. And you would say in the prompt, always include a cat. But if you're trying to make something that you could do any cozy mysteries, like any small town cozy mysteries, because let's face it, you can burn out on a series after 6 books, right?
Yeah.
This allows you to have a pen name that can do the auction house, that can do the island, that can do the strip mall, that can do, all these different kinds. It's the same kind of writing, but it allows you to broaden your horizons a little bit.
I'm loving everybody loving on Gracie.
On Gracie. Yeah. Okay.
That's really and all right. And remember, y'all, this is with a model that after you fine-tuned it, it's still a 4.1 mini model. Yeah. So you're going to be getting charged that mini model price, the fine-tuned mini model price, actually.
Yeah, which is just double the price of the regular 4.1 mini, but it's still more than half the price less than 4.1.
Yeah, like I said, an order of magnitude because there's an extra 0.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, so it is teaching 4.1 mini to work consistently like 03.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to do this with Claude, you would use Claude to make all of your story worlds, and then you would just plug those in. So you can use any model you want as your synthetic data. Best practice is to use a smarter model, or use human data. If you have your own outlines and things like that, and you want to type it up, like you really want it to write like you can do that. I personally like to use synthetic data because it's faster. So SkewLight says, so 03 is good for the planning phase. I like to use a thinking model for the planning phase if I'm trying to fine tune a one shot. What I mean by that, this is a one shot, meaning I prompt, I get the response. In order to make dumb models like 4.1 mini give more detail in its one shot, you basically give it the synthetic data of a thinking model that had the chance to go through and revise and revise and revise. So these thinking models are really, really great for synthetic data creation for dumb models. And this is a good thing too. What does Gemini charge? Gemini is, for fine-tuning Gemini, it is, I think there's only one model you can fine-tune. That's why I'm not teaching it tonight. Like I said, this is very nascent technology. Last week, we just got a new way to fine-tune OpenAI. So that's why
excited.
This is why this is all behind the mastermind, because it keeps changing so quickly. I could not, in good conscience, make a standalone class and expect that thing to live for longer than a month or 2.
I was going to say be relevant for any amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Any idea how good a fine-tune of a Mistral model is? Very, very good. You can take Mistral and you can fine-tune it up to that quality of writing. And what's great about Mistral is that you can be using not safe for work content. Okay, so back to what's going on here. So we have one here where it does 10 miles off the coast of Maine. Now, if I didn't want it to be Maine, I could have specifically told it, maybe I want it off of Florida, because that would change it completely, right? The whole feel of the story. And it put all this information in. We ended up with 1,600 words, so I'm just going to thumbs this up. Now, this is why I think that I started getting this kind of stuff, because this is inside my data set. So I just need to delete that out of my data set and make sure that kind of crap's not in there. Because if it's in there, it's going to hallucinate it.
Yeah, it's got some really esoteric sort of markings in some of the things at the very, very bottom. I'm like, what the heck?
I got a climate cheat sheet.
Wow,
this is 03.
That's a lot.
And it hallucinated 3 books published, 1 novella, holiday freebie. This document frozen after copy edit of book 3. Yeah, we're going to take that out. We don't want that information there. Did I not change my story template? Because I thought I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. So it's just getting it from something else.
Where did you build? How did you build the story template in the first place?
With O3, with this prompt that I gave in the.
That you gave in the beginning.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. I really revealed everything I did. So now it's time for the tedious part. Okay. So I have Dino Trainer here. I'm going to click keep and keep on this top box because my system prompt isn't changing and my prompt isn't changing. So I'm going to, for this one, I'm going to go ahead and come over to Plot Drive, get my template. So I have my template and I'm going to put it in here. And then I'm going to put the same prompt in. Now you're probably going, but Elizabeth, you changed the prompt. That's fine. You can always add a little line to it when you want to use the fine tune. It's a-okay. And now, so because these are keeps, when I put in, the next thing I need to do is come over to Plot Drive and grab Story World number 1. And I'm going to copy all of this. And I'm going to paste it into Dino Trainer as the assistant right here. Once I do that, I press the arrow key on the right hand. That's telling me to go to the next conversation. Because you do have the ability to fine-tune conversations, that is a more advanced thing. We're not talking about that today. We're just doing a straight single shot. So because I did keep, it should have kept that stuff. Hold on. You press
I was
save.
going to say, doesn't it? It does keep it. It doesn't necessarily have to show up again. It does it?
No, it should have shown it again.
Bug.
No, it worked earlier today. Okay, yeah, and that's the other thing. I lost it. So I think it just wasn't ready. So it's okay. So I'm going to put... Oh, I know what's wrong. You have to put it in there first and then put in. So I paste it in. And I paste it in. And then I click keep. And once I do that, I can paste in the story world. This is the story world for number 1. Now when I go next, you'll see conversation 2 kept it. You have to click keep after you have filled it in. And I can keep going, and you'll see every single one of them has that same system prompt. Even if I go to number 7, it's got the same system prompt and the same story world. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really handy way if you're doing one-shot fine-tuning. You just have the prompt that you're using over and over again, and you just have the template, and you can just keep that and keep going. So for this one, I can even go with 11 because I have 11 now, but we'll stick with what I did. So I put everything in here. So number 2, all I have to do is put in the second story world. So I go to story world number 2, and I put that in to Dino Trainer. And then I can go to this one, and it'll tell you here how many tokens it is, 4,148, and how many characters it is, because stupid Google is so behind. Like, I don't recommend fine-tuning Google right now. It's so early days on that. But they have a character limit of like 45,000 characters. So your individual sample in your data set can't be more than 45,000 characters. That's why we have the character count on there. You can also rename these things because obviously conversation 1 doesn't really help me. So if I was to rename this, I could say story world 1. Actually, I'm going to do it the other way around. Cozy Mystery Series Story World 1. So that way, when I bring this document back in, I can remember what the heck that data was instead of like trying to figure it out. You can also make these boxes bigger. So you can make them bigger and bigger and bigger so that you can see everything in here. But I think this is a lot easier to validate. Wouldn't you agree, Ikello, than looking at this?
Yes. How about I say yes, Elizabeth?
Yep. Now, since it saves in my browser, you're going to want to routinely go to your settings box and click download file. Download file will download your Dino Trainer. So I'm just going to go sample for mine. I know you couldn't see that, but I'm going to reset my Dino Trainer. And now if I go to my Dino Trainer, I'm like, OMG, it's gone. Oh no, what am I going to do? So come back to settings, load file. Remember, Dino Trainers are JSON files, so I can bring sample in, and it says, okay, I go to next, and you'll see I'm right back where I left off. So there's Cozy Mystery Series Story World 1. And I would do that for all 10. Now, I've already done this for all 10. So I'm going to reset the Dino Trainer. And I'm going to go ahead and load the file that I did earlier tonight that you guys already have, which is the 10. And you'll see I did not change the names of the conversations. I should have done that, but you got a free data set. You're welcome. So you'll see that all of these have, anywhere between 4,000 tokens. That tells me that their story dossiers are pretty consistent. You could make them longer. This is a good place to check and see do I like this? 3,991, that one might be on the short side. We also have another tool here, and that is this graph. Now, this little graph thing right here is going to tell you your word density analysis. Why? If I have a word that's really high in density, and it's not a word that I want regularly in my story dossiers, this is my flag for that word might be in the story dossiers a little bit too much. So you'll see the word book is the highest one. That's fine. The, in, of, to, a, for, all of those are fine. Series, of course I want series. Town, okay. Murder is 33, so that's up there. Future is in there a lot. That kind of makes me go, because of future books all the time. All right, and I can keep going through, and I can see here that cat is in there 0.15% of the time. I have cat. Cat's got a higher frequency than, say, Dahlia, which is 14, or calendar, which is 11, or ongoing. This is what happened in the original training. Cacophony, tapestry, they had higher densities than they should have for what they were, for how often we actually use them. That's the downside of using data that is not varied and diverse. So when I come down here to this 0.1 section, I'm like, this is fine. This is all fine. But when I come up here, I can start to see some of the different words, watchtower, etc. The main thing you're looking for is anything that's in the higher percentages, and it's not a word that is a generic word. So, for example, if cat was somehow in the 1%, and every book I write is not about a cat, that would be a problem in my fine tune.
Boy, would it.
Yes. So we have this data. So last step is to click your, once you upload your file into Dino Trainer, you're going to click this Export Supervised JSON-L. Now, when you name it, you can only name it with underscores in it. Do not name it with hyphens. And I will show you what you do with that file. So to make a fine tune, you come back over to OpenAI, and I'm going to go to my dashboard, and I'm going to go to fine tuning right here. Now you can see the fine tune I did that was successful right before class, right before this live. We'll look at some information here. It's telling me that my suffix was 10 cozy mysteries. We'll talk about that. It tells me what base model I fine-tuned, which is 4.1 mini. We're going to go ahead and fine-tune 4.1 nano. I didn't stutter. Nano.
All right, now.
Let's compare it.
This is going to be fascinating because you're going to train it on O3 responses.
Yes.
Ooh.
2.9 million tokens. Remember, your cost is this number times the pricing. The pricing for fine-tuning 4.1 mini is $5 per million tokens. So 3 times 5 is $15. This cost me about $15. When we fine-tune 4.1 nano, it's going to be $1.50 times those 3. So that'll be less than $5. This is magnitudes of saving money when you're writing books with AI. It makes a huge difference.
Think about think about all of the books that you write, that you've written already, any books that you've already written. And edited and then taking that and putting that into Nano and seeing how much better, or Mistral Medium or whatever. Ooh.
I'm going to come back to this and go through it, but first let's go ahead and get that Nano fine-tune running so it can run while we go over all the information it gives me. Okay. So I'm going to click create. Now your fine-tunes are by project, so it's important that you know what project you're on when you do your fine-tune, or you'll drive yourself crazy. You choose your project on the top here. So I'm going to click
O1 baby.
O1 baby. Yeah. My base model is going to be 4.1 nano. Do not fine-tune 4.1 unless you want to pay like $75 for that fine-tune. Do not fine-tune 4.1. Make sure you're fine-tuning either mini or nano or GPT-4o mini. Don't do O4 mini. That thing's $100 an hour. So, yeah, stick with your nanos. Be very, very careful. You can still fine-tune 3.5 turbo. That's probably, I think, one of the cheapest ones. So 4.1 nano is what we're going to go ahead and fine-tune. So I select that model. Now suffix, don't skip this step because it's going to help you in knowing what the heck this is. So I'm going to go YouTube. So I know that I did it on YouTube Live. And this is 10 Cozy.
Zozy?
Yeah, Cozy Mystery Story Worlds. So SWS. So if I look at that suffix, I know what the heck that was. Now, this is a bug that's going on right now. It usually should pick a random number, but it was breaking. So go ahead and pick a number here. I'm going to put 325 in here because that's what I've been using. You can try it without it, but if it flags and puts a red, just put a random number in there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab my Story Worlds JSON-L file that I have. Remember, you can only use underscore. It's going to rename it something stupid. That's fine. I'm not going to worry about validation data. We're working in creative world, so it doesn't really need, if it spits out a chapter identical to a chapter in my validation data, that's a problem. If it spits out does that make sense, Ikello? We're not looking for samesies. And then once you learn about hyperparameters, you can, so this is like number of examples in each batch.
We're only using 10 in this particular one, but you can use, something up to like what, 1,000 or something like that.
You can go really ham with this thing, but I suggest people start with smaller examples and check their fine tune and see how they like it. That way, you're not doing extra work if you didn't need to. Because
really interesting for people with a backlist. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, a lot of the advice for this is about people fine-tuning very short little things like do this little joke or chatbot messages or something like that. They never expected people to use fine-tunes for long-form content. We were one of the first organizations to actually go public about that, and we did that in December of 2023.
Yeah, they were quite surprised.
So I leave these all on auto. You can experiment with it. I just don't really feel like paying. Nano is the model that you would experiment with these to see how much they impact with your data set, since it's only like $5. And now I'm going to click create. Now it's going to go through the files. Sometimes it'll flag it if you have like stuff in there that's sexy. I have fine-tuned on sexy times and it wasn't an issue. It just depends on the level of it is. So just know that sometimes it's fine, sometimes it's not, just like when you're prompting with OpenAI.
It's called the algorithm blues.
Yep. We'll let this go. So I'm going to go show you the other one that I did here. And so it has these checkpoints. Now these checkpoints are kind of interesting. This is actually 3 different models, believe it or not. These are 3 different fine tunes. And what this means is if you come over here to
fair warning, everyone, and techie nerdy alert.
Did I use the wrong file to fine-tune this thing?
You might have.
That doesn't make any sense.
This is the old one or the new one? 16 at 7. No, that was way earlier.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I don't know what I did.
Why are you confused right now? I don't understand what you're seeing.
Because this is called 10 Cozy Mysteries, but it's saying I use a training file that was chapter writing. All right, we'll create a new one. Base model, 4.1 mini.
Not nano?
No, because the nano's already running.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be 10 Cozy Story Worlds version 2. We'll do 325. I will upload a new file to this. 10 Cozy Mystery.
Which is the same file, right?
Yeah, it's the same file as the one I'm using in Nano, and I'm going to click create. I don't know what I did, but that's interesting.
Oh,
okay.
So now you're building a V2 of the one you thought was but it's actually some kind of chapter building.
Yeah, I think it may have had the wrong, I think we did the wrong data set.
That happens. That happens.
It's hilarious.
All right, just so you know, everybody, remember, these are always live demos. So
yes.
All kinds of interesting things can happen in live demos.
Yep. So that's how you catch it. The training file, it tells me the training file. When I looked at what I did, that is not the right training. That is structured fine tunes. That's the GDS book 1 chapter write JSON-L. That's the fine tune I did this afternoon because it's right here. GDS book write book 1. That's to write. So the one that gave you the clue matrix was the chapter 1. Yes. I was wondering why the training loss was so low on that because I saw that number and it matched it. So we'll talk about this training data set, even though this is the wrong one because it's fine because it's running through them. Let's talk about training loss. Okay. So loss just means how different is it from the original model? And you're aiming for something that's between 1.0 and 0.5 as a rule of thumb. Now, again, this goes back to most fine-tuned jobs and stuff like that are not what we're doing. So really and truly, training loss is meaningless to us unless it's a really low number. That is a good sign that you overtrained. So if the training data loss here is 0.476, this is why they're giving the previous steps. Because if I come over here to where 80 is, you'll see that 80 says 0.58. So they're basically giving a snapshot of the model before it got overtrained and then again at 90. And 90 is 0.20, so I wouldn't even use that. That may be why it wasn't doing so great. So what was your question, Nikello?
No, I was interjecting.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
But this goes to show you that just about any fine tune into 4.1 mini will make it write longer. Any kind of human example that you can give it will make the model write longer. But I want to stress that the model is not a whole new model. It's really hard-coded for that prompting that you gave it.
So just so everyone knows, we have been working on this stuff for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
We're the Future Fiction Academy. We have tons and tons of standalone courses, and we have an accelerator, a 90-day path to your first novel being written. We have a ton of things. Please click the link below, go down to the Future Fiction Academy and dig in and find something that works for you.
So this is already done. So this is the Nano, and this I have hardly any training data loss at all. So this would be an indication to me that I would expect it needs a lot, probably 30, 40, 50 examples to actually be a lot better at what it's going to do. But we'll see what it's at 10. Although the accuracy did go up, so that's good. So it's all done, and the other one will be done in just a second. Let's see where Nano's at, shall we? Okay.
I'm wondering. I'm very, very fascinated.
Before I can actually use a fine tune, I have to go back to my face. This is so dumb. You have to go to limits, and you have to be on your right project. It's down here, limits. I'm sorry, it's limits under project. You have to be on the right project, and then you click limits. And then you edit which allowed models are allowed to be used in this project. So I'm going to edit and come all the way down to the bottom. And now it'll have the fine tunes that I did right here. See, and I can see YouTube 10 Cozy Mystery Story Worlds. So I'll go ahead and turn all those on. and then click save. And this is the really dumb part. You have to refresh your page or it will not show up when you try to use it in Playground. So now that I'm in Playground, let's see what we've got. So I'm going to go to Nano, which it's backwards in here. It's going to be the reverse one. So we'll try the fully trained one. We'll increase the max tokens. We'll bring down the temperature.
This isn't the one that you trained wrong.
No, this one's trained correctly. And we will give it that prompt.
How long did it take to do that training?
How long have we been live? We've only been live for an hour and 15 minutes. So,
well, you just put those in, though. I mean,
right,
what, 10 minutes ago?
It depends on how busy the system is. Like usually, when a new model just drops for fine tuning, it's real. It can take hours. If it just middle of the week, nobody cares. Okay, so let's add something new here. Let's go with how about there's the bakery in a town where recipes and rivalries go way back. That's a good one. Ooh, how about this? An elite gardening club. That's a good one for a cozy mystery world. The Greenhouse Society.
Where did it go?
It's the other thing, but I'm just looking on the other fine tune. The other fine tune is done too. So, all right. So we'll put this in here. So,
but you have to refresh it and do all the stuff, though, right?
Yeah. So let me do that. Let me go to my profile again.
I was gonna say, don't go too far down. Yeah.
Edit. Come all the way down here. Save and refresh.
because
like, what the heck is now? You guys understand why this is in the mastermind. This is not easy to just do. I'm going to go to compare, and we're going to unsync these, and we will put Nano on the left side. We'll compare first Nano, just regular Nano, to the Nano fine tune. That's the first comparison we'll do.
That's interesting.
Apples to apples. So I'm down here.
Should be at the top. No, I mean
it is, but not because this is mini. Come on. Okay, Nano. Okay. Nano, Cozy Mysteries, Story World, step 80, 90. So this is the regular step right here. Nano. I hate this system. It's so awful.
You should have only turned on the last one, though, right?
No, I did all three so that we could see the difference of the steps. Okay, so we have that. We'll put the system message in. So it has the template.
Boom.
I love. Yep. And then we'll put the prompt in.
What, that cut and paste?
And then I will do the
be inspired
by an elite gardening club where plants and people don't always thrive. I'm just going to make sure. Oh, see, we need to max the tokens, increase the max tokens. So Nano's got the same. So this is just plain Jane Nano versus fine tune Nano. And here we go.
And they both have both of the tokens are all right?
Yeah, they both have a lot of extra tokens.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is a situation where I think it's overtrained because it basically just broke itself. So what we can do is this thing, it's pretty short, but it did imagine three past ones. So we're gonna take this out. We're gonna copy this. Hold on, and I'm just gonna change this model to the step 80. This is why I turned them all on. So we're going to go to step 80, which was not quite overtrained. Or I don't think this was overtrained at all, actually. So we'll try step 80. And we will take this out, put it in again, and say go. See, by stepping the back, it's a little bit closer to what it originally was. I don't know if this is actually, this is 1,920 tokens. That's 1318. We can compare them side by side. This is just nano and nano. This one's actually a situation out of overtraining. It's undertraining. It's undertraining. So here we have Asheville, but that's a real place, so I would probably want to change the name, even though it's missing the E. Cherry Creek bisects town north-south, eventually flowing into Lake Asheville. You notice this, the out-of-the-box nano does not give a lot of information about like map and directions and stuff, but because my fine-tune did, you notice that it's giving the information about the population. It's giving it information about like the east-west aspects of it. We have a historical anchor. We don't have that on the left-hand side. So this is just like any generic town, which my fine-tune is designed to give something a little bit better. For the ash trees, gardening loving core, annual 23-acre Asheville Colonial Revival Gardens, a living museum endowed by the McGregor Estate, open all year as a nonprofit. The property also houses like Rosemary and Thyme Society, an invitation-only garden club. Founded in 1932, dedicated to cultivating rare plants and nurturing local horticultural talent. Its motto, where people and plants sometimes refuse to thrive.
Wow.
So it's very on the nose.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't think nano really worked as a fine tune. I mean, I would have to give it way more examples, and I just don't think nano is where we want to be.
So let's see what the mini did.
Let's see what the mini did. So I'll change my model to mini, which it's going to be up here up at the top for the minis.
Yeah, 4.1. Yeah.
So we'll use the regular one. We'll keep the same settings. I'll take this out.
Was that the 90% or whatever you were supposed
I did the 100% to just start off with. We'll close these out, and this one we will change to GPT 4.1 mini. So we're comparing out of the box without any fine tunes to the actual fine tune of 4.1 mini.
So while it's running, Elizabeth, what are some good example of fine tune use cases that people could spin up on their own?
I mean, you could take a bunch of story dossiers so that you get really detailed story dossiers out of something. You could use it to train on how to write like you. That's a complicated way to do it, but all you really need is consistent prompting. And if you use the Easy Peasy Book Machine, you're going to have that. I don't know why this is just not running. Yeah, this is 1255. That did more. I'm wondering why. Let's try step 80.
So story dossier or outline?
Yeah, exactly. For character lists. I mean, you can use it for just about anything. I'm now trying step 80 and seeing if that's a little bit better. It's not an exact science. It's just like, are you getting something better than the base model? Are you happy with what you're getting?
And remember, you should be able to, all right, so say you wanted to write better outlines, and you should be able to come up with a bunch of different outlines and then go in there and make sure that these things have all of the stuff and the extra stuff that you would want to have in outlines, and make sure with each example you have a template in order to base all of that stuff around. Of course, if you wanted to write like you, things like that, you definitely are going to want to start on that Future Fiction Academy train. Come on over and grab some free courses and stuff like that.
Look at that. So 10 Cozy Mystery Story World Step 80 did 4,463 tokens, whereas out of the box is 1,500 tokens. And it actually did a very complicated one. It also created, I wonder if that's a real thing. It is not. So just fair warning, Mini will hallucinate.
I was like, did it really just
Let's look at this chapter by chapter outline for book 4. Lily arrives, posts about Ivy, stirs controversy. Green Glove event prep, Lila meets members, found dead. Okay, so we have a dead body on chapter 2. Investigation starts, doubts about cause of death. Ivy interviews suspects, deleted messages found. Okay, so we got dropped clues, orchid sample, deleted messages. Lila's background revealed, first connections made, club tensions rise, unregistered plant receipt found, plant crate receipt. Penny confronts Ivy, pressure to drop case. Viral post draft found, suspicion deepens. Ex-boyfriend and rival influencer questioned. Ivy connects dots, club fractures, confrontational, reveal illegal plant trade, motive confirmed, resolution, community hills. Ivy reflects on her place. So, and that's what Skew Lights is saying. That's because it's 4.1 mini, which cannot access the internet. But 4.0 can access the internet. So that's why. So regardless, I mean, it's got the 8-beat emotional spine of inciting. Now you could code what you want this to be, but it's making sure it's hitting those. It's got a lot of information. You can change all of this, but it's got the suspects and the motives and the opportunity. It's got the red herrings. It's got the chapter clues. I mean, this is great, I think.
I wonder if you could build. I wonder if you could build a better villain.
You could absolutely do better character sheets. Like, let's say you want to do character sheets, and your character sheets are always really thin because it's so expected. You can also teach it to, like, if you're doing fantasy, to like really, like, let's say your fantasy world has all different towns, and you need a specific town dossier for like the people who inhabit it and all of that. You could teach it to make very complicated versions of those. So that way, every time you're doing a fantasy series, you could go back to that model and make it write you a more in-depth information about the story world. This is also really great for authors who want to share data sets. If more than one author is wanting to do fantasy worlds or whatever, they could work together to put a data set together, share it, and then because sometimes a data set's not worth it for one author for one task, but if it's a data set that works for a lot of authors, you can help each other. Not safe for work, I would use Mistral, but you can also, basically, if it's stuff that you're prompting GPT, OpenAI, and you're not getting flags or anything like that using your API key, you can use it to fine tune. I wonder if I gave it names that were not Alara, Thorn, Willow Creek, and so on, it would stop giving me Alara. That's a good point. So I did that, basically. So if you look at my fine tune, let's look here. Oh no, we have Lila. So I did not check for my names or anything like that. But you could constantly make better names. We have some names like Harold, but we have lots of scenes and lots of silly ones. I would suggest always giving yourself a character list or a character, be inspired by like Nordic characters or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You'd have to load in 10 different story worlds for that fantasy world building example, right? Right. So like, let's say for this fantasy world building, you were doing, I want it to be more fleshed out about towns. I want it to come up with a whole history and everything like that. So you would do 10 of those. And then you basically have made yourself your own little engine to make later ones. Because I'm going to guess your fantasy series has more than 10 little villages and things like that people are going to be going to. Yeah. So, I mean, you can literally use fine tunes to make your own brainstorming engines. All you have to have is 10 examples.
More might help.
More could help. Start with 10, see where it's at.
I think maybe your echo is not turned on. I keep hearing myself coming back.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The big thing is that this broke your brain. Know that my brain hurts right now. And the best place to learn this is to join the mastermind. I'm sorry to say, but I've seen people try to do fine tunes. I've seen people try to talk about fine tunes and be like, oh, you can use this fine tune, so it won't use these specific words. It doesn't work like that. Fine tune.
Weren't we trying to break out a fine tune class, and the way that we kept trying to quantify it, it kept making the price go up because it's a very it seems like what she just showed you in an hour and a half is pretty simple and straightforward. But then you start running into very interesting things. But what we did get was some use cases like story dossiers and Write Like Me and character lists and sheets, better character lists and sheets, better outlines, better just like better villains, like what I was
Yes.
saying. So actually giving how about this? This would be cool. The template sort of thing would be always make a villain, that absolutely has a righteous reason for the reason that they're doing
Yeah. So you basically make the villain like a hero.
Yes, they will always believe that they're the hero of their own story. So you have all of these kind of criteria, and then you start spinning up these different villains and validating them and going, yeah, oh wow, he probably would have a really good.
I do want to show one last thing because I see this. Could I train it? Not that one. That one, yes, you could. But this one, may try it with my Eldara world. Let's talk about this. Fine tunes cannot memorize information, though. They can only learn better ways of the style of the output. And I want to demonstrate that. So I'm going to come over to my playground. I'm going to clear this out. We're going to come over to Plot Drive, and we're going to pick one of these. I'm going to just pick Story World number 6. Okay, because this is in there. We know it's in there. And I'm going to ask it for something specific that would be unique to this. I'm going to ask it about Marigold Goldie Finch 38. Okay, and see, and I'll even give it Amateur Sleuth. And we will see if it actually comes up with the specific information for this. So I'm going to come over to my fine tune or my playground. So I'm in playground. I'm going to pick my fine tune model. So we'll go to 4.1 mini. Cozy Mysteries. We're going to go with step 80 because that was the best performing one. And I'm just going to ask, who is Marigold Goldie Finch 38 Amateur Sleuth? And when I put that in there, it's just hallucinating something, okay? It's coming up very specifically because it was trained on that, but she's got a career in journalism, high-profile cases, intuitive, scientific approach. She's dressed in practical yet stylish attire, high society events to gritty backstreets, her auburn hair. It just made this up. Because if I come over to here, the only thing it knows about this is that Goldie Finch is a globe-trotting gumshoe. She's a travel agent proprietor. She led international bus tours for Wanderlust Worldwide, returned home 2 years ago. You can see that it doesn't know who that is. If you wanted to know information, you are going to have to prompt it just like you would prompt any other time for information, which is I'm going to close this out, close that out. I'm going to put all my character information in here. And now I'm going to say, who is Marigold? And I can just ask that question. And now it's pulling from this information to give exact information here. And now it's got the Wanderlust Worldwide information because I fed it in the system prompt. So you cannot use a fine tune to memorize facts. The stuff that's in the data set, it is moving the tokens around. It is not memorizing the tokens as concepts.
And that is a very common misconception about fine tunes, that you you could fine tune it on someone else's work, which I would never do, and make it right like that author. And then all of a sudden, this is the problem. There are enough things like data leakage that would peer out every time you decided you wanted to write with those fine tunes that you trained on somebody else's stuff, that would get you in trouble. It just will.
Yeah, that's why you should only use your data or synthetic data.
Yes.
So looks like it's more process, applying guidelines and guardrails. How about a fine tune for editing? Fine tunes would prevent you from really needing to edit. So a fine tune would match your writing style so that you don't have to make as many changes. The other thing that you could use a fine tune for editing is if you wanted to kind of show it to make a detailed editing report, you could kind of show it examples of really good editing reports that you're happy from a smarter model so that the dumber models have a more detailed editing report. But editing is not necessarily a good way to use for a fine tune for. And Steph says, if you want a data repository, Steph Riley says, for a large story world, you're better off building a RAG, which is a different topic. Yes. And they're kind of moving away from RAG. They also say, you know, RAG and fine tunes go hand in hand. Most cases for authors, you can just prompt it with the information or give it a whole bunch of information, because these models have like a context window now of 1 million tokens. You could give it a bunch of information and just do a multi-step process. It'd be like, find all the information to answer this, and now do the task. But yeah, you could use a RAG system for information. Guy says, how would it be for translating? That could be another good application for people. If they have a fine tune of the translations for the style, because again, translating is very much a style. So if you have really good human translations and you give that as examples, you might be able to get away with a dumber model to do your translations rather than a more expensive model. So what about if I have a prompt that is consistent other than the documents in it, i.e. different scene briefs for the same point of view, but the rest of the prompt is the same along with a final edit output? Yeah, that's fine. You can basically teach it that when you give it those kinds of documents, it's going to write back to you this length and this style of writing. That's exactly what writing like you fine tune is like. All right. There's one other thing in here. Lynn Jordan says, in this case, you would want to use PlotDrive's co-writer. First of all, I call that thing PlotBot. It's PB to me, and it's staying PB. I don't care that they named it co-writer. It's PB. Have you seen this thing? The new one, Ikello? Not the old one, the new one.
Has it dropped yet?
Today.
It's in PlotDrive?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it next week.
Well, that happened. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm pretty excited about it. I have some very specific things that I'm going to be using it for. So I don't think it's a replacement for talking in line when you're in your documents, but it does some very interesting things. And it does work with with actually toggled on documents. So you can do some very interesting data mining of your own stuff in order to really kind of figure out what you're doing.
I need to respond to a comment really fast. You're better off placing the style you like in a knowledge base, i.e. 20 various chapters of Stephen King, or insert favorite author and say, based on these documents, analyze the style in the report. No, you're not, Chucky. You should not do that. That is rude. If you wouldn't want another author to do that to your content, you should not do that to another author. I do not find that to be ethical prompting at all. That is a very harsh stance that we have in the Future Fiction Academy. We do not treat other authors the way we would not want to be treated. You should only be using your own data or synthetic data. On top of that, if you were to take 20 various chapters of Stephen King and put it in a knowledge base and ask it to analyze the style in a report, you're going to run the risk of entire phrases that are in the Stephen King section being put into that style report and then being put into your writing. This is not a good practice to do. Please, no one do this. Okay, I'm off my soapbox now.
And it isn't. And remember, everyone. The reason for this is not for us being like righteous about this. This is actually for your specific protection.
Yeah.
I remember yesterday I was in a conversation with Ingrid, and she said something around that subject, and I think I would have to go back and listen to it. But yes, that is a hard thing to definitely. You're just going to get in trouble if you do it that way. What you can do is take its general knowledge about the styling of many authors and the way that many authors are doing it, and be general in the way that you ask for reports. Maybe even use the search function to get more searches out on the internet about the way people are writing right now and what's hot and what's not and stuff like that, and then pull some of that information in as like data for statistics, but specific writing of people,
especially if you are, my recommendation is, if you want to write in a new genre, you should do your own writing and then have the AI analyze your writing. It doesn't really serve you if you don't write like Stephen King naturally and you tell the AI, okay, learn this writing style, and then you're applying it to the writing. How are you even going to know that that writing is good or not, or that you like it? Because you can't even produce that kind of writing on your own. The purpose of AI is to be a tool. We talk about this. These are like very big issues in our industry. And I just really recommend, do not treat other authors the way you wouldn't want to be treated. I'm not saying you can't do it, like you're incapable of doing it. People are capable of doing that. And you also want to read the terms and conditions of OpenAI very carefully, because you'll notice it says you may not put copyrighted material into your prompts. Like, that can void your protections that you have, unless you have the rights to that content. So that's why you'll always see on the FFA, we use synthetic data, or we use data that was human edited by one of our staff members, or we use public domain stories. Please read your terms and conditions carefully. It's not even a question of like, if you want to live your life like, I'm not going to get caught, it's not going to affect me. I mean, that's what some of the people who use Napster thought. You know, there'll be a handful of the fish that get caught that have issues. And the easiest way to not to be caught is just not be a fish. So
don't take the hook.
Yeah. Next week, we are going to talk about Plotbot. Harper was saying, I think the difference with Ingrid's example was using one sentence and then attempting to come up with multiple ways to change the style and tone of the sentence so it's totally different. That is more of a writing exercise, which is, as Harper says, similar to what's done in textbooks and when we're in English classes. And again, that's someone going, let me make all these different versions. Now let me decide which one I like, versus using AI to try to write like a famous author.
Yeah, that's not the example she was trying to give at all.
No.
Yeah. So that is definitely different.
Is the style feature in Claude 3.7 comparable to a fine tune? Most likely. In a lot of cases, when people say that they have made a new model, chances are they just fine-tuned another model. When you look at Open Router and there's all these different models, they do what's called a merge model, or they'll do like a fine-tune. They'll say like, this model is this base model, but it's geared for role-playing. That just means that they fine-tuned it on a whole bunch of different role-playing. Hello, Laura.
Say wave, Laura.
Laura.
Where'd she go?
I don't know.
Come here, Miss Gracie.
Looking for Gracie.
Yeah.
But yeah, fine tunes are a thing, and people make it seem like it's impossible to do. It's not. It's just a lot of busy work, and it's a lot of analytical work of making sure that the prompts and the outputs make sense for what you're trying to do. The last little thing, I think, Ikela, you're doing their thing. I'm going to show Plotbot real fast. So we'll come back to my screen. This is wicked cool, I have to say. Now, it is very much experimental, so we are not going to do a whole lot with it. But if you are in Plot Drive, you'll see this little purple button up here, and it is brand new. I'm going to go ahead and make a new project. And I'm going to say story ideas. That's what I'll call this project. Now, when I click the little window here, I was already using a lot. So I'm going to clear my message history. And it's like, hey, I'm here to help you light the spark and all this stuff. Now, you are limited at first to just 20 messages per day. And they have a few things like the help chat is not supposed to be over the little button. They're going to fix those things, those little paper cuts. It does not go by the model that you're choosing. It's a model that they have on the back end. That's why you only have 20 messages. But watch this. I'm going to say, I'd like to write a novel. I need a story dossier and outline and cast of characters. Actually, I'll do it this way. I'd like to write a novel. I need a hook and pitch, cast of characters, summary, and outline.
I just realized you're showing this thing off today.
I told them I would just a little bit. Can you please make all of those documents for me and fill them in and call the folder book 1. So I gave it instructions on what to do. It's going to go ahead and help me. It's going to go ahead and create the folder on that left-hand side. They were very inspired by Cursor and Windsurfer, which we talked about at the very beginning. So now it's working on making all of those documents. So if I drop it down so I can see there's hook and pitch, if I click on it, there's my hook and pitch. It's starting to fill that out. Now, I didn't tell it to fill it out for a book, so it decided to make me templates because it's Claude. So it did something that it's blank.
That's interesting, though, because you get the ability to make templates for your fine tunes.
Mm-hmm.
Like hook and pitch templates for your or your cast of character templates for
and now it's got the outline. And I'm like, so it's like, here you go. So it made this. I'm gonna say, can you please fill out hook and pitch? Oh, see, error rate. It, like I said, it's experimental. That's all still there. I didn't lose anything. But I can actually call a document. Toggling doesn't work. I can actually say, can you please fill out hook and pitch for a horror novel that involves a haunted house? I put that in there, and it's going to actually fill it out. So it's going to pull this document and understand what it needs to do to update it. And it should just fill in this template that it made.
Did it just fill it in?
Yeah, it did at the bottom here. So it didn't quite fill in this thing. So it's definitely a work in progress, but just the feelings of it can create documents for you. It can fill them in. I mean, this thing this is the prototype of it. This is the very, it will be expandable. So I agree. There's lots of things that we need to fix on this. But because it can go ahead and make documents for people, they wanted to go ahead and ship it so that you could use it to, like, say, make me, like, I can say, great. Make me a folder called chapters and make documents in it, chapter 1, chapter 2, etc., all the way to 10. So you can literally use it to quickly do that task that I freaking hate, where I'm like, okay, I'd have to constantly create new document and rename them. So it can just do that. So now it's just making me documents, and it's not filling it in with information. Like if I click chapter 1, there's nothing in there.
That's nice.
But it can go ahead and make me. I wouldn't suggest doing more than 10 documents at a time. Ask me how I know, because it will crap out on me. I did that on once. But this is where it's, really starting to. This is a whole new way. Nobody else has a tool like this. So it's going to be able to do buttons, like you can tell it to run connect. It can't do that yet, but already right now it can like hook and pitch.
It'll be able to run buttons for you?
Yeah, it will be able to run buttons.
Interesting.
So yes.
So you could build I'm going to use the word twice in one live stream. You're going to use the most esoteric button that you can possibly come up with and be able to access that particular thing on the fly.
Now you see why I call it plot bot. June's like, definitely a plot bot. I'm like, yeah, it's little PB. I need PB's help. Little PB, come on, PB. And then PB and J. Oh, thank you. I have a cute nose.
Oh, Gracie.
I actually did not create this. This is all Jay and Scott, and Jay and I talked months ago about, could we get Cursor to write us a book? And the answer is no. But I know that they were very inspired by how Cursor and Windsurfer works for developers, that you can just say, I'm making this thing, make me a Python library, make me all these documents and things like that. So Lynn says, I used it to tell me how to have the AI work with long documents successfully. Yes, this thing is going to be very robust. It's not I mean, other programs have where you can chat with your documents. This thing is going to let you chat and do functions. So it's a next level in terms of actually being agentic and actual agentic and like, okay, I can do these things. So, and these are very, very early days.
I wonder if you can ask it to like highlight in a chapter a specific word as it appears, however many times it appears.
I have no idea.
You know what I mean? So like you just
this is
can
not
have
the
a
full demo, Ikello.
No. I'm starting to shine up to the idea of this bot. I'm just trying to think of ways that you would effectively be able to use it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you can do this. You could do something of, if I ask Plotbot, I can go read cast of characters and highlight in yellow everywhere I need to fill in. Let's see if it can do that. I can see cast of characters in your book 1 folder. Let me read. Now I'll update it. And so now if I go look at cast of characters, I don't know if it can highlight. I know Harper did that. I've highlighted all the areas.
Oh, what areas? I think I missed your initial prompt.
Yeah, it did not look like it highlighted anything.
No, it doesn't. No, it didn't do it.
No, it did not do it. It's like, I did it. No, you did not. And the same thing happens with cursor all the time. I did the thing. No, you did not. So
what's it using as the underpinnings of it?
It's Claude right now, but the future versions of PB are going to allow you to have like control over the system prompt, change the model, different tooling that it can do, create documents, delete documents, etc. So there's gonna be some, like, this direction is really, really brilliant, I think, for Plot Drive.
Very exciting.
And Harper said, yep, I had fun doing stuff I didn't think it could when we first saw the first demo, and that was fun. So yeah, just to recap tonight, your notes. We do have it in the description. I'm also putting it in the chapter, the comments. Sorry, my brain is fried. Fine-tuning is challenging if you're doing long form content. I mean, we just did this for 2 hours and all we did was make a fine-tune on Story Worlds. So people usually take between 2 to 5 hours to make a single fine-tuned data set and then to run it. But then you have to test it. And you'll notice we ran into some hiccups when we were testing. I had to sometimes back up to a previous step. This is all knowledge. Like, I just threw a whole bunch of knowledge at you that we have been working on for 3 years. 2 years. 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. Because fine-tuning didn't come out until that time period.
It feels like 3 years because ChatGPT came out 6 months before that.
Yes. Fine-tuning wasn't something that we got until later, but we started doing fine-tuning in December of 2023, November 2023. So, and fine-tuning this is before that. So we really a year and a half.
Yep.
A year and a half, 18 months. It's very experimental, but it pays off in huge dividends. So our new product, Your First Draft, is going to have the fine tunes made for you. So when you go in there and you want that female protagonist, first person point of view, gritty, sassy, and all of that, it automatically runs it for you. And it will all be built with synthetic data that has been human evaluated. So we will not be chopping up anybody's books or anything like that for this.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a perfect segue into the fact that we have a new product that is coming out soon. Mm-hmm. It's called yourfirstdraft.ai. It'll be a website that helps you create your first draft in a lickety split amount of time. It very, very, very fast. We are the Future Fiction Academy, and your gateway to the mastermind, which is one of our most premier products over at the factory. I mean, at the Academy. At the factory. I could tell you we could have never mind. And accelerator, the
Mhm.
May 2025 FFA accelerator is $249 a month. And you get access to a bunch of our standalone classes, including things like choosing publishing niches, using AI, which is, if you want to just get the standalone class, $99. Easy peasy book machine, build it, bend it, break it down for $99. Romance outlines with AI for $249.
That stuff does not unlock though until your 45th day. So it
Yep.
unlocks in the middle of the 3rd month of the accelerator. The first thing of the accelerator is going to teach you the vocab. You get to know your learning leaders, Lynn and Alyssa. You get to have weekly meetings with other people in the accelerator. You get to start at the beginning. So if you just watch this YouTube and you were like, Elizabeth threw me in the deep end, that is not what the accelerator is about.
It is not what the accelerator is about. But what ends up happening is when you're in the accelerator, you're going to get Plot Drive as part of the package, and you will also get a credit for your first draft.ai. And that's good for each month. Every month it renews. Every time you have the accelerator or the mastermind after the accelerator, you will have access to both of those things. That's for new customers and everyone. So that's for new customers. Now, if you are feeling randy and you want to dive in and you know that this is what you want to do for the next 6 months, do me a favor. Get our package. It's $1,299 for 6 months. It's like getting 2 months free or something, or a month free.
No, that's only on the 12-month one. Is it 2 months free?
Oh, you get two, so you a month free, almost
a month free. Yeah.
Almost a month free.
You save more than 10% though.
Yes, and so if that's the road that you need to go down, go ahead on and do that. But the only way that you're going to be able to do that is by going over to the futurefictionacademy.com. Look down there in the description, and basically, I am Ikello Herod, and this is Elizabeth Ann West, and we are the Future Fiction Academy. So what I want you all to do is dance it out with us.
Wait. There's one last question. Are you still planning a writing weekend over Memorial Day? And the answer is, I don't know. But what I'm hoping is that over Memorial Day weekend, people in the Accelerator and the Future Fiction Academy will get their first sneak peek at your first draft.ai, the alpha, like just for members. I'm hoping that we can do that over Memorial Day weekend. That is the big push. So that is what we will be aiming to do. And Ross says FFA is the best space. And thank you, EAW and Ikello. Now we can dance.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're dancing this out, and it'll be a quick dance out because otherwise the AI doesn't like to process this if it's over 2 hours. So see you later. Have a good time and enjoy the song. Oh, wrong one. There we go. It was so nice hanging out with you. Yeah. We'll see you next
Started on the sidewalk,
Friday.
notebook dreams, pen in the
Bye,
pocket,
everybody.
chasing moonbeam schemes. Then the world spun, AI in my lane. Typed a prompt, watched the magic rain. Claude in my corner, chat GP2. But after a while, they just missed the view. Needed more, needed drive, needed my say. Plot drive loaded up, baby, clear the way. We're moving past the bots in a copy-paste haze. Writing real stories in our own damn ways. Plot drive dreams, easy peasy flow. Plan it, write it, edit, let the good words grow. Yeah, plot drive dreams, API keys fly. We ain't asking for permission, we're taking the sky.